But that's going to lead to more satisfied customers. It's definitely going to lead to me being a more satisfied customer. It's just the Nexel staff. I don't really toy around with this in the future. Like I said, we're going to beat the World 4 boss. Then we're going to go back through and get what we need to start upgrading weapons. And then we're going to switch back to the old save file, because I would like to have some of those things that appear to no longer be available. Which, again, I feel like it's pretty upsetting that that's even a problem in this game, but Doom Turtle is as Doom Turtle does, as it said. Alright. Okay, we can charge it. Alright. So I'm learning factors about this already. Right, but charging it requires us to stand still for a while, so I'm not sure how often I'm going to be able to do that. That does seem like a bit of a flaw of the weapon that's going to take some adjusting to on a serious basis. And also, it just doesn't feel like the regular quick attacks do all that much for it. I still hate the fact that there's no way around these things. I hope the developers, again, add some kind of option for that. For not dealing with them. It seems like that's locked in. It appears you can't switch that out. So that's another thing. You only really get one skill slot with this weapon, because you can't replace this skill, it seems. I don't know. Maybe you can and I'm just wrong. Maybe I just didn't notice that you were able to. Because that's possible. Like I could just be incorrect. That happens. I'm often incorrect. That happens quite a bit. I feel like that happens to all of us. Chain lighting, I feel, is going to be very useful on the staff, because it already seems to kind of have that effect. Yeah, there we go. I think lightning is always going to be the way to go with an Nexel staff. I mean, obviously, it's going to take more toying with it. But it does appear to be cases. No, the skill indicator there seems to imply the weapon has a lot more range than it appears to. I gotta say. Like, I'll use it here in a second just to confirm. Yeah, it ended right here, but that skill bar went all the way off screen. So it looks like that sort of lies to you about the weapon's range. I hope the developers make that a little more accurate in the future. Unless, again, maybe I'm just doing something wrong. Maybe charging it decreases its range. That would be kind of weird. But perhaps it does that at the benefit of damage, but that doesn't appear to be cases. It seems like it is just inaccurate about the weapon's range. Alright. This seems like it's going to be terrible against virtually any boss. I'm just going to say right now. This seems like a weapon that is not going to perform well in boss fights. Like, it definitely has ad clear potential, but I feel like, yeah, I feel like this weapon kind of sucks in when you're dealing with those kind of crowds that it's like clearing out. I really don't see the reason to use this weapon, I guess is what I'm saying. It feels like it puts you in a lot of danger if you want to use it efficiently, and if you are using it safely, you don't get much out of it. Again, maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to be trying out all the weapons across this stream, just because there are still some in this game I haven't used, admittedly. There are cases of weapons that I just don't have experience with. And I want to change that. I want to experience more than just like the scythe and sword life I've been living. Though I highly doubt I'll switch off the scythe as my main weapon. You know, having some more experience with the others will help me to become a well-rounded player. I feel like the best way to get better at any game is to go outside your comfort zone. All right. Yeah, it's no big deal. We're back into the game. Which we go with next? How's about Razor Wind? Yeah, I kind of like this. Nah, I was thinking about switching up my build. I think better stick with this. That's interesting. So it is kind of a melee deal unless you charge it up. All right, that could be a potential value. We're gonna go back into Skyforth. We're probably not gonna be touching the DLC stuff for at least until we get back to the old save file. Skyforth. You might wonder why I don't just go straight back to it, and that's because I do kind of want to improve at the game. And I feel like just skipping, essentially, to where I was on Steam Deck isn't going to give me much opportunity to do that. So, yeah, we're going with the simpler option. We're going with pretty much starting over until I feel like until we get to that point where it doesn't make a difference, you know. I hate this guy. Just give me my coins. Alright. I am enjoying this a lot more than the other two weapons we just tried. I feel like this is a much better one. Hopefully we get the opportunities to do the secrets, because every time I've gotten Blast Bomb so far, we just haven't gotten the chance to do the waterfall secret. Which is, again, really annoying. I think that's been quite frustrating, really. The fact that we have never been given an opportunity to do it so far. I think that has been of consistent annoyance. And hopefully that changes soon. Alright. It has some, it definitely seems to kill pretty quickly, which I like. Alright. And has some good mobility while using it, which is what the bow was lacking. Alright. I can see this as a contender for my favorite weapons. I'm probably still going to stick with the scythe, but I can see this replacing the sword as my second favorite if I get a little more practice with it. So I'm probably going to use it for the rest of this stream. There we go. And let's see. We don't really get apples much. No, this is a shame because some weapons have unique interactions with apples, like the scythe that generates damage upgrades. I think the hammer generates max health upgrades. If you attack the apples, those bags sometimes drop with them. So I'm kind of wondering if this has any such interactions. I feel like that'd be fun to see. We haven't really gotten a chance to explore that opportunity. All right. So I mentioned the Edge of Sleep in the last stream I did with Matt, where we played Ember Knights, but I want to talk a little bit more about it now that it's been out a little, and I feel like people stumble upon this are unlikely to be getting spoilers, though I will say Edge of Sleep spoilers past this point if you give a shit. I really liked the show overall. Like I mentioned, I feel like it started a little bit slow in the first episode, and I still feel like that, even though I kind of get what they were going for in that regard. It feels like that was on purpose. To an extent, it feels like they very intentionally started things off a little slow. I feel like they didn't give me much reason to invest in the characters in the first episode, which was fortunately corrected very quickly. I think by episode 2 or 3, I was feeling very invested in all of them. But yeah, the first episode, if I didn't just choose to watch episode 2, I probably wouldn't have stuck with the series. And I only chose to watch episode 2 because I was working. I had nothing better to do. Yeah, the first episode is a little bit of a drag, but past that, the series gets a lot better. Like, honestly, episode 2 leaps and bounds ahead of episode 1. Like, it's night and day differences in the quality. I want to keep this going until at least an hour 15 into this stream. And at some point in the stream, I'm probably going to switch to a different game just for a little bit of variety's sake. Perhaps the main channel could use some other uploads beyond MBs, beyond MB nights. All right. There we go. Yeah, Gus can be a little annoying. I think I say this pretty much every time he appears, but Gus can be a little annoying with how often he spawns his little tornadoes. But he's no match for the Shuriken. The Shuriken is a fun weapon. I'm really enjoying my time with it. What is it? Ripe elderberry. Whenever you heal, your crit is increased per 3 seconds. All right. I don't really have much healing going on. Whenever you use a skill, you throw a snowball. Absolutely. I'll take that. That's what I was saying. I feel like episode 2... I like how the characters progress too. They don't immediately jump to supernatural conclusions about what's going on, which I feel is a bit more realistic to how most people would react in situations where what happens in Edge of Sleep is like something kind of goes around the world where people just kind of die when they fall asleep. So the main characters are in a conundrum where they have to stay awake as long as possible. But also, obviously, that's making it more difficult to find out what's going on. I think it's a really good series, and just that premise alone sets up for some really good psychological horror. And as the show goes on, there's the kind of slow burn build up to when we are introduced to the fact that supernatural elements are at play. Outside of the main character, Dave, he's been having all these weird nightmares that are starting to line up with things he's seeing in the real world as it happens, and they're starting to get worse as all this unfolds. So, well, just before all this unfolds, I should say. And I like that. They try and come up with explanations. You know, they think maybe it's some kind of weird pathogen. Maybe it's something to do with like a government experiment, which is like a little wilder of a conclusion they eventually get to. Before they realize, like, they do an MRI scan on a lady as she's dying, and they find out it's people, like, when they're having dreams is when they're dying, you know, in REM sleep. And that means something about having dreams is killing people, and that's when the idea of supernatural conclusions is first seriously considered. Which, again, I feel like it's like logical. I feel like at that point people would be thinking, okay, there's clearly something more than typical realities going on here. You know, something odd is occurring here. Something not explainable by our modern understandings of how the human body works and how diseases and pathogens work. Like, there is something of influence beyond how we understand reality at that point, I feel, is a natural conclusion. And it's where Dave finally decides to speak up about the fact that he feels the dreams he's had his whole life are connected to what's going on. So he decides to, you know, be a little brave boy and sleep. Which also, like, I felt like that was handled really well. Like, they build up to it. They get to a point where it feels natural for Dave to not only reach that conclusion, but expect anyone to, like, take him seriously on it. And there is a lot of tension when he goes down, because, like, it's uncertain if they'll just kill him off. Like, it feels genuinely like they might have killed him. I'll say, like, the tension is real. It's hard to do that with your main character, you know, when their life is at stake. Because there's often the rule of, like, you know, the main character has a plot armor. But even with me having that in mind, the dangers still felt potent. Like, I still felt worried for the character. And it's probably the trippiest dream sequence he has up to that point in the series. Like I said, the progression there is just really good. Like, the way the characters reach the conclusions they do is followed very naturally. And that's probably the strongest aspect of the series. All the characters, like, feel very real. Whenever between an enemy with the status element, your skills refresh quicker. I'm going to take Bone Blade. Armor is a valuable resource. especially now. Still feels weird that the floor boss isn't marked, especially like the mini boss. All right, let's go, Geo. Feel like Geo is going to be a valuable asset here. All right, we're getting here fast. Geo is ripping and tearing. Like, he's doing a lot of damage. Wait, can that thing target Geo? Oh, if that's what I just saw happen, Geo just became like god tier. If Geo can distract like bosses, that's major news. Oh my god, it totally can. Geo can draw boss aggro? Little dude, you're gonna be one of my go-tos. I'm replacing Night's Charge as a go-to with Geo. That is insane. Genuinely. Having the boss be able to focus on things other than the player? Hello? I'm signed up. That actually feels game-changing, unless I'm just wrong and what I witnessed was like other stuff. But if what I think happened, Geo might be godly. Geo might be S tier. All right, we're going. Yeah, I might end our Ember Knight session with another run of the new DLC because I do want to get more practice in on that. But again, the game clearly presumes that by the time you're experimenting with the new DLC, by the time you're diving into Mycelios, you have some experience with the main path that it wants you to transfer over to the alt path. And I like that, you know. It means the DLC isn't just, oh, hey, here's something you can do instead of the base game, which is how a lot of games feel. When you gain armor, you gain that much gold, 50 gold gained this way, increase max armor by 1. Yeah, why not? I'll try it. I haven't had Midas touch before. Maybe it'll be a game changer. It doesn't look like it'll be one, but I have been wrong about such things, you know, evidently with Geo. Geo appears to be a far better, like, I already thought it was a good skill, but it seems to be like real must-haves, honestly. If the boss aggro thing is true, it definitely does a lot of damage, which, like, on its own is like incredible. But if it genuinely does draw aggro from even bosses, like, that is huge news. The fact that it's drawing, you know, this enemy's aggro right now is already pretty big. Because it means I can just go over here and do this with little to no interruption. Alright, Geo. Nah. I'm not seeing, actually. Nah, I'm gonna keep Blast Bomb. Blast Bomb seems to be doing more damage now, so I'm gonna keep it. Just in general, though, like, while the DLC, you know, alt path is much harder than the main path, I feel like they also buffed quite a lot of things since the last time I real actively played this game. Like, it feels like a lot of things are more powerful than they were the last time I used them. Like, again, Blast Bomb, like I just mentioned. So, it seems like kind of Repentance style. They've made it so that in the meta, there's not much of anything bad, except for, you know, that wizard staff. That was definitely bad. I'll just say straight up, like, maybe I'm not using it right. Maybe there's some advanced tactics I'm not aware of. But just using it like a normal weapon, it's not good. And I don't intend to return to it anytime soon. Not unless there's some kind of unlocks, you know, tied to it. You know, completion status. Tied to use of it, I should say. which there are weapon skins, and once I get everything else in the game, I'm probably going to be going for those. But, ow. Ow. Oh, Geo is dead. That's probably why things are so aggressive right now. All right, Geo. And on to Phalanx. It seems we're fighting the regular one. No. We're fighting, I think this is the one that spawns a whole bunch of enemies. Either that or it's the one that spawns a whole bunch of freezing attacks, which would be annoying to deal with. Though I feel like the Phalanx Brothers is probably the most difficult version of this boss. Other than that, this is honestly a lot easier than Guzzle Wound on an average day. Yeah, he just spawns a whole bunch of enemies. So, yeah, pretty underwhelming fight Phalanx is. Like, even Phalanx Bros, the one that I consistently have the most problems with, is the one I clear pretty much every time I come across it. I mean, I've lost to it a few times on stream, just because, you know, like I said, still getting used to playing the game with the mouse and keyboard, but other than that, like, yeah, I'll take you in place of you. I gotta hold it. All right. That makes sense. Take that. What is this? Impact Charm. Wherever you stun down. Yeah, talk to Arlen. Right, it's R to reroll. I haven't seen the support. Arlen's War Gear. Every 4 enemies you defeat with your weapon permanently increase weapon damage by 1. Oh. I just saw this. I definitely would have picked that up if I could afford it, but I can't. So, we're moving on. Hopefully we can get to World 3 this time around. I want to keep that guy over there as long as possible. Which is approximately exactly as long as it took me to say that sentence, it would appear. Little Geo, you are a powerful dude. Because, like, I know the Wisp could already, like, pull aggro, but the Wisp had, like, no health, so it didn't matter too much that they could. But Geo seems to actually be able to take a fair amount of punishment and deal a lot more damage than a Wisp. I mean, sure, you have to control him spawning. Like, it's not like Wisp where there's a whole bunch of ways to get them, which is, I feel, their main advantage over Geo, which you can generate a whole ton of them with the right build. Geo seems more limited in your abilities to just have him out, because you can only have one of them at a time, and it requires you to activate a skill to use them. I don't think there's any ways to generate Geos like you can a Wisp, so... He definitely, I definitely don't think he's going to completely subsume Wisp builds. Especially because, like, they are not mutually exclusive to Geo. So, you know, I just feel like, if anything, they massively increased the ceiling of power with this DLC. Especially with Geo as an item. But I definitely like him. He's definitely going to be, like, every time I see him, I pick him up now. And Arcane. I don't know, a lot of the new things they added this DLC that I've fooled around with so far have been a whole lot of fun. Like, the weapons, I don't really like either of them, but they are fun to use. The bosses and, like, the new alternate style enemies are engaging, I feel. I think they did a really good job designing them in a way that they still, like, resemble their main path counterparts, but still make the alt path stand out. Not only as being more difficult, but as having more unique enemies. Like, just by, you know, them just being variants of the existing enemies. Like, I think they did a whole lot right with this DLC. Like, I don't really have any complaints about it. Not even about the free updates, too. The free updates are also really solid. Like, it didn't feel like it was just obligatory adding of stuff. It felt like all really well thought out to an extent where it took me a while to even figure out what was DLC and what was free updates. Which is good situations to be in. It means that it's all of a very, like, consistent high quality. Yeah, I'm gonna go Ember Fire because I might run into a secret here in the next room. No, secrets can't spawn in here. Never mind. I shouldn't have taken that. Unless they also buff this. I'll have to look at a full list of the buffs that have happened since I last played this game. Oh, fuck. I should have thrown the Shuriken at that. Never mind. You'll live and learn. But we don't die, so healing won't matter. We're gonna beat this boss. We're gonna go on to World 3. Yeah, that's just the facts of the game at hand. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, fuck this stack. This one could be a little bit annoying. A little bit, not very. This one that requires a perfect dodge to get around, which I kind of like. You know, I feel like for the second world, it makes sense to start making you pay attention to this one too. This one you can position your way out of, but it's a lot easier and a lot faster to dodge with this perfect dodges. I feel like the little Cthulhu tree in the second world has a much harder to deal with, you know, in the alt path, I should say. And is a much harder to deal with attack that requires you to dodge. I feel like that one's a lot more precise. Oh, fuck. Is that a new attack? I don't remember that. I don't remember the 9 boulders attack. I could have sworn you used to only have the swords as projectiles, so I don't remember boulders. So again, maybe my memory is just spotty, because apparently I was wrong about the World 1 floor boss having the energy balls attack. I think it might have just always had that. Oh. Did they rework these bosses, or am I just like misremembering their attack patterns? I think I'm misremembering their attack patterns more likely. Let's take the skill tablet. Still disappointed that the trophy room no longer has the trophies abilities, but if I harp on about that, and let's kill this guy. If I harp on about that, we're never going to get anywhere. Yeah, the snowman, I think, gives you a special ember for destroying it, which a lot of people don't seem to even realize snowman is there. So if you come across the stream, there is a snowman there you can destroy. And once we get past this, we're gonna drop a marker. We're gonna drop a marker once we clear that. Once we die here, because I'm imagining we're not gonna survive all too long, because this part is pretty hard, at least by my standards. And my skill level in this game is low, to be fair. All right, we should summon a Geo. All right. Litchy. Are we going to precision run it? And we're going to move on to the next room. I need to remember. I see you. I need to remember to grab any wisp I see, because there's a secret here that requires you to have wisp. And there are graves here that'll spawn a wisp if you interact with one. Relic selector. My throat's getting a little dry. Geo. Go take care of some of that for me, please. All right, what are we taking here? It's all fire stuff. Your first weapon, your first item, fire. Remember, HP up to 50, cast a meteor. We'll take the meteor, because I feel like that's going to be happening a lot in this world. Speaking of HP, let's destroy that. It'll make the we don't die easier to accomplish. We're going to go for precision. Yeah, it's not one of the wisp gravestones. I just wanted to destroy it to see what would happen. I think there's a chance for that to have something in it. I'm pretty sure, anyways. Just one of them? No. Alright. I'm not really seeing the wisp graves. This is a little unfortunate. Hopefully we get a couple. Oh yeah, Arlen starts appearing before the the floor boss. I mean, the mini boss at this stage. I forgot. He starts just showing up. All right, apparently this is no interaction with apples. Maybe they have an interaction with meat. Some other item. Micromanite, thanks to your patronage. I'm looking to expand to a new location. The next time the Nexus might see a familiar face. Oh yeah, once you clear Praxis, he installs the shop. We gotta grab you. Oh yeah, this is how you unlock Bob. Remember in the part of the stream where I was on my old save file, we had a little bit of Bob. I'm gonna switch to my old save file after this run. Nah, we're just gonna actually never mind. We're just gonna go all path after this run, and then we're going to switch to a different game. What that game is, I'm still deciding. Empowered Bangle. Your first skill hit an enemy deals bonus skill damage, or I could just permanently increase my skill damage. And re-roll. See what we get. Spell in a bottle after your refresh skills. You 2 seeking missiles. All right. Should have grabbed that upgrade. I just noticed it. Oh wait, this is where this starts happening. Yeah, the bullshit. This is not a fun effect to deal with. Oh man, I held on to that revive. I just noticed that. I didn't even realize. Oh, there's a wisp grave. Nice. Hopefully, once we get that wisp, we can hold on to it for a bit. All right, I'm not even using this. All right, thank God. Hopefully, we don't get another one of those anytime soon. Oh, it's a mimic chest. We're gonna use you and you. Those generate random wisp, but those always generated a basic non-elemental wisp. I don't know, maybe I'm just wrong. We are moving on to the mini boss, and this world's mini boss is actually a little tricky. He has some tricky patterns to memorize, I would say. Especially to predict. I feel like he's one of the harder to predict mini bosses. Personally, I think I have more trouble with him than even the level 4 mini boss. I'm fighting the Herald. Bang. I froze him by setting him on fire. Good old Ember Knights. Yeah, I feel like the extended range from which we're able to reach him is going to be very valuable. Oh yeah, at this point you don't get the full 2 meats worth of health back. You only get 3 apples, which isn't as much. So it's actually really useful when you have the Rift Hammer, to my knowledge. Oh, we're close. Oh, we're close. Ah, bad attack. Yeah, I thought they'd get me. All right. Well, we did really good that run.